If you shift your financial perspective and you go, okay, well, I'm going to put those debts on autopilot. I'm dealing with them day in and day out. And yes, the bank is controlling my life right now. You might think the government's controlling your life right now, or your employer's. No. Remember, you always have choice. So shift it to, I'm choosing to stay at this employer. I'm choosing to make those debt payments this way. I'm choosing to run my cash flows this way. If you can shift that perspective that it is your choice and that you are the creator of your life as opposed to victim to the system, then you're helping raise the grid not only for yourself, but also everyone else around you. Because sometimes maybe you just have to be the first person to bust through it and show people a different way. What's going on, everybody? Julie Murphy here, and we are going to talk about financial perspective and what is yours and how do we shift that to more of a place of what's going to lift you up and empower you, as opposed to one that's going to keep you in fear and shock and paralyzed financially. Because gosh, there's a lot of news out there these days about that's financially constipating most of us. It is crazy out there. So I want to help you kind of shift your financial perspective on some things. Currently when I'm making this video, we're in the midst of a market correction / maybe a recession. We don't know as of yet, but I want to share some information that is really going to help us shift that perspective. So like, did you know that 17 out of the last 40 years that markets have gone down between 10 to 40%, or sorry, 10 to 20% in the last 40 years? So almost 50% of the time we have a correction like that. Like, that's actually something that happens. And what's your perspective on that? So when you talk to someone who's left brain logical and in finance and they're analytical by nature, and not so emotional on it, because they kind of see it as, yeah, you know what, I've been doing this for 40 years, and over 40 years that 17 times this has happened. Like, what happens is you become almost emotionally numb, if you will, because you've been through the patterning. And this is where one of the challenges I have with current media is the fact that it's shocking people, because remember, what's their motivation? Their motivation is to actually get more viewers. So they have to present things in a nature financially that shock the shit out of you, and it doesn't have to. So I want you to keep your perspective. So one, that's perspective on markets, right? Like, don't always believe the shock that's being put across the TV. Let's talk about taxes. That's another part that let's take a look at your perspective. Now, I have people all over the boat in terms of, do they like to pay taxes? Do they not like to pay taxes? Are they pissed off? Do they like this administration? Do they not like this administration? And this is whatever government you're in around the world. It doesn't really have to be just where I live in the United States. But if you come from a holistic viewpoint, I said to somebody the other day, I go, well, taxes drive you absolutely crazy. But because you don't believe in exactly where they're spending the money for your taxes, and that drives you absolutely crazy, you're now spending all this time, energy, thoughts, words, conversations you're having, and your feelings, and you're frustrated because you really don't like the fact that we're being taxed up the yin yang these days. And if you could unplug from those lower vibrating emotions and shift your perspective going, what are they doing that you do agree with the taxes, as opposed to what you don't agree with, and say, okay, well, that's helping to create more oneness, more infrastructure. It's, helping others, like whatever it is. You may agree or disagree with anything that I'm saying right now, but I'm saying that catch what's going right with the taxes that are being paid, as opposed to what's wrong. Why would you want to do that? Well, it's kind of like forgiveness. You don't forgive other people because of them. You forgive other people because energetically, you want to shift it inside of you so that the world is showing up differently in your, because remember, we live in a hologram. We live in a hologram to where whatever's going on in the inside shows up on the outside. So nothing shows up in your world if it's not actually inside of you. And the science proves this. There are videos about this on the scientist Greg Braden's channel. He's got videos about these things. So those of you who question that, I'm telling you, this is what scientists have actually already proven. We live in a holographic universe. And so it's about shifting your perspective. And trust me, I am not a big fan in the United States. We created a $10 trillion credit card, and it's growing right now as of the date of this video. And I'm not happy about that. It's the deficit of the United States. I don't want my taxes to go up to pay for that. But I have some perspective in the fact that, if we wouldn't have created that debt, or at least the majority of that debt, we would have been sitting in a Great Depression right now and not having a really fast recession from 2020 and recovered out of it. And now we've got some inflation issues that we're working out. So perspective, because I would much rather have some of the pain that we've got going on right now than the pain of what could have been if that wasn't done. So shift perspective, because otherwise you're not looking at the good in things, you're looking at the bad, and then you're creating more bad on top of that, because that's where you're vibrating and you're energetically sharing that negative vibe, which then contracts your nervous system, which actually blocks money flow, blocks manifestation, blocks everything that you're trying to create in your life. And you don't even realize, because you're pissed off about taxes, that that's what's actually helping to aid you not getting the things that you want in your life, from pay raises to job changes to financially wherever it is that you want to be. Because it's all related to each other. It's all energetically tied. Okay. Another area where you can shift some financial perspectives is you don't like other people controlling you. Now, this could be the fact that shift your perspective. So instead of coming from a place of victim with your personal finances, come from the perspective of financial empowerment, meaning like, okay, so I have all this debt, whether it's student loan debt, card debt, house debt, whatever kind of debt, credit card debt, whatever debt you have. Well, those debts are your financial past. You made decisions in your past that are currently affecting how you're living in the present moment. Now, you could choose to either be victim of that and be like, I got to keep working to pay these debts and blah, 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 blah. Trust me, that could be your story and that could be your energetic vibe. But again, remember, it's all about vibration. So if you shift your financial perspective and you go, okay, well, I'm going to put those debts on autopilot. I'm dealing with them day in and day out. And yes, the bank is controlling my life right now. You might think the government's controlling your life right now, or your employer's. No. Remember, you always have choice. So shift it to, I'm choosing to stay at this employer. I'm choosing to make those debt payments this way. I'm choosing to run my cash flows this way. If you can shift that perspective, that it is your choice and that you are the creator of your life as opposed to victim to the system, then you're helping raise the grid not only for yourself, but also everyone else around you. Because sometimes maybe you just have to be the first person to bust through it and show people a different way. So it's your perspective and how you're looking at it. You could also get a divorce and stop letting your spouse control your financial life. I'm talking to many, many women these days that are choosing to step into their financial empowerment finally, and they're getting out of the marriages where it was control, or they're starting to shift it inside their marriages and staying married, but they're shifting the way their relationship actually goes inside their marriage. So you choose it from a place of empowerment. Another way, financial perspective, is that there's always not enough. Your cash flows, the money coming in, the money going out, it's not enough. If that has been your story, your entire financial adult life, well, guess what? It's a story. So you have to flip the switch. You have to flip the perspective and say, so how do I create space? So ask the question and be in curiosity. How do you flip your financial to not be not enough, but how do I create some space in my financial world? Maybe it's about, I'll put the link below to a cash flow worksheet, also a debt worksheet, because these are ones that I talk about in my book, The Emotion Behind Money, and help get that to a place that you absolutely love. And you map out the income coming in and the expenses going out. And then you look at those expenses and you say, do I still want this anymore? That's the first question. So again, you come from empowerment and you find out what's true for you. And then you say, okay, well, maybe I don't like the fact that my cash flows, if I have X amount coming in and X amount going out. I don't like the fact that I'm right at the line. And most people create lives where they're right at the line because as we get pay raises, we just build into it. Or as inflation occurs, it just gets eaten up by the gas tank of what we're doing. We have to understand that it's about awareness and choose to create the space or choose to continue to live like with a noose around your neck and not feeling like you're enough. And you're like, I'm choking. Well, remember, it's all a choice. It's all about how you choose to perceive what it is and choose to take action steps to create a different reality. And then the last thing that I wrote down here is like that you are absolutely in charge of your financial freedom. You have to know that you are that strong and that empowered, that you are the creator of your life. And if your financial perspective is that you've just defaulted into the financial life that you have, remember, even if you didn't choose it, that's also a choice because you chose to just like fall into whatever happened, as opposed to start to rewrite the script, start to rewrite the story to create that financial freedom and choice that you actually want. And it might be switching your job. It might be moving. There's no thing that you cannot create that is not an option. Nothing. But we have to decide that they're actually choices. So if you'd like more freedom in your life, we need to clean up our financial past, which is our debts, while we're living in the present moment, and those are our cash flows, and then planting the seeds for the future that we really want to create because we deserve it. I hope that was helpful. Don't forget, go to juliemurphy.com. I am here to help. I have group coaching sessions. I start a new one up every quarter, and you can go to awakenyourwealthbook.com. You can get my book for free. You just have to pay for shipping. I'm going to come out with another book funnel soon with Emotion Behind Money. And really super stoked about my next book coming out shortly. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.